Good evening everyone, and for the final time I welcome you to Competitive Racing Club. We are here for the LMP3 Championship. Once again, as we take in round 13 at the Dubai Autodrome International. Good evening everyone, I'm James Head, going to be taking you through the stream as I have done for the last 2 seasons in CRC, and as you might have guessed from either on Discord or on Twitter, this is my final CRC commentary on Project Cars 2. It has been an absolute thrill and a privilege to be commentating alongside Alan Cavagnaro in the first season and alongside Professional and Ash, of course, within the second season. And it is going to be a real shame, I think. Of course, Season 6 seems very good indeed in terms of the Radicals and the touring cars. But again, as life goes on, I think my priorities are changing and I want to give a lot more on the F1 side, I think. So that is why the decision has been made for me to drop my commentary from CRC. Hopefully I will be back though in the not too distant future, and you shall see me hopefully once again, maybe even out on track, who knows. But we are out here for qualifying, already a minute gone, no lap time set just yet. But we have got Aguilera, the first one out on track, and the big shame, I think, is that we haven't got Speedster this week. He said to me last week, of course, in his interview after becoming champion in CRC, that he is not going to be racing here tonight. So Speedster not here, but we have got second and we have got third certainly up for grabs. Andy currently holding that third position. Looks like he's wrapped that one up with a race to go. It's going to be really interesting to see how everyone gets on. I'll run through the standings in just a second, but we'll ride on board with Aguilera in the meantime. Very tight and twisting final sector this at Dubai. Haven't had the chance to drive the track myself, but I know from experience and I know from driving the track previously in different cars that this track is very difficult to get a grasp of. So difficult, in fact, that the track penalties have been turned up for tonight, which of course I think is an advantage at some stage for these drivers, I think, obviously with the track penalties not being off. But again, that sense of realism, picking up track penalties, has gone otherwise. Bit of a deciding factor, I think. Take of that what you will. But Aguilera coming through turns 1 and 2. Only 12 turns actually out on track. Aguilera now coming up towards the end of the first sector. Pretty much like the Abu Dhabi chicane coming through the Dubai Autodrome. Oh, sliding out the car there through the first sector for Aguilera. That to the right hand side, I think, is Flaky possibly getting out the way. And only 9 drivers here, better than last week. But it is the end of the season, and I would have expected a few more drivers to say farewell to Season 5 of CRC. Aguilera now through this very tight and twisted section, running up the hill actually towards turn 6. We're on board as we come on board with him now. There's the grandstand to the left hand side. Again, really catching that back end out. Olaf looks like he is back into pedaling, possibly picked up damage. Now on the run down in towards this left hander. You don't brake there, by the way. That is the most idiotic braking point I think you can ever have here at Dubai. But very tight into the double left-hander now through turns 11 and 12, which are 2 right-hander, 90-degree right-handers as they come through the final 2 corners. Again, very similar to Abu Dhabi, I feel, down into the final 2 corners as Aguilera swings out that back end. Not sure what the lap times are around here, but Aguilera is going to set the first lap time of the night. Across the line he comes, and it's a 1:29.8. Whether that will be beaten or not remains to be seen. Right on board then with Darren Sinclair, who is on a lap, the Scotsman. Wrapped up second in the championship last week as a result of Speedster winning the championship. So Sinclair here personally for a win, probably, I think, out on track. So Sinclair will be hoping for a good result out on track. Sinclair now around the final couple of corners. Flaky has gone third and Bart has gone second. Bart going second there. There's Mia Olaf. There's Sinclair across the line. 29 flats. Already beats Aguilera's time by nearly 8.5 tenths per second. So Sinclair out on top. Aguilera second. Yogurt in third. He just came across the line there as well. Andy coming through the middle sector. We're on board with Racing Home as well. Coming through the final corner. Through turn 12 and Racing Home has been an avid listener, I think, within as the track extends coming out the final corner. Comes across the line. He goes top with a 28.6. Didn't expect that from Racing Home. Where's he got this pace from? Goes quickest from Sinclair. Aguilera third, Yogurt in fourth. Andy coming around turn 11 and now down towards turn 12. A little bit of a downhill braking zone actually into turn 12. And Andy ran the final corner. Scotsman will be hoping to try and go in around Darren Aguilera's sort of area. It doesn't. 135.5. Might have made a mistake on that lap. 6.6 seconds off, so Andy will be hoping to try and get a good result. Mia Olaf now, the Italian, returning for the first time in a few weeks. Good to see him back, and he is in the Ligier, of course, as he comes around the final corner, comes across the line, and doesn't set a lap time. I think actually he might have just came out of the pit, so he's just started off a lap now. 5 minutes gone through in qualifying. Rest of home out on top, Sinclair second, Aguilera in third. Aguilera, by the way, has improved to 29.1. And Bart, as you say, their best lap delta of 1.1 seconds. Bart there in 5th position. Let me know how you're doing in the comments section on this very chilly Saturday night here in the northeast of England. It is very chilly within the commentary box. I might have to put the heating on at one stage, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. I will have to shut my lights as well because it's getting very dark here in the UK. Mia Olaf though is still on this lap, down into a very tricky braking point there through turn 5. And now Mia Olaf coming again up the hill through turn 6, pretty much halfway through the lap now. And now through the turn 7 hairpin. One mistake, there is definitely 12 corners out on track. Mia Olaf now flies through turn 7 on the run down the hill. And we'll come back on board with Mia Olaf as he runs now down with roof cam. Beautiful camera this. Roof cam now in operation as he comes down, breaks at the 50 metre board, turns in. So for the first double left, and then through the double left he goes. Wide out. Could have applied a little bit more power there, but looking quite nice. You can hear him feathering the throttle through turn 11 and now through turn 12. Hear the clonking of the gears as he changes through. Mia Olaf runs wide, of course. No track penalties at all given. Mia Olaf across the line. Goes 2.8 seconds behind, 131.5. Andy, by the way, missed him. He's 700 up through the first sector, 129.8. So he has improved up to 4th position early on out on track. So very good evening to everyone, of course, that is tuning in to CRC tonight. And if you're not, then why are you not? It is the final race of the season. You'll be wanting to see a lot of good overtaking and possibly even some great racing out on track. So we push the halfway stage in qualifying. Racing at home out on top. Sinclair second, Aguilera third, Andy fourth, the Yogurt in 5th. There is a car off there to the right hand side, and it's racing at home. Typical behaviour there from racing at home. Off track. First time he's done that in a few weeks, I think. If I'm not mistaken. Andy, I think, hit the 100 metre board there as he now comes through. Was 700 up through that first sector. Let's see what he's doing. He now comes through the final couple of corners through turn 11 and now in towards turn 12. Of course, these guys will probably run 85 litres worth of fuel within the race. Bristol Holmes still out on top. Sinclair second, Aguilera in third. Andy, you've kind of afford to run wide there. Across the line, goes 8 tenths quicker, goes second, and goes 6 thousandths ahead of Darren. It's actually 7 thousandths of a second. The graphics a little bit glitched out there by 1,000th, but still Andy second, Sinclair in third, so good lap time from him. High Grade, one of the guys that has not set a lap time just yet. Luckily, no invalidations will pop up on your screen on the right hand side. But High Grade now down into the braking zone of this double left. And runs very wide. Now, if that was me, that would have been a penalty. But still, High Grade coming through the final couple of corners, very much struggling. Not sure if he's on that lap or on a proper lap here. So they come through the final corner. I think this is his first race actually on his new wheel, he was saying within Discord earlier on. High Grade will be hoping for a good result. And yeah, he's just started off on a lap, hoping to try and go around flaky Bart sort of area, I would imagine, with his lap time. High Grade has not been the quickest driver this season, but you never know. He could be letting somebody else use his account as he now comes through turn 1 and 2. Just trying to get a feel of the track. He's gone the wrong way. What is he doing? I've never seen that before in CRC. A driver takes the wrong way. It's like Bahrain short for High Grade here tonight. He goes the wrong way. I cannot believe that. He's misjudged that completely. Oh my goodness me, that was caught on stream as well, and High Grade has just digged himself into a hole by going the wrong way out on track. He runs wide now, but goodness me, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I know the track is difficult to remember, but God almighty, High Grade. Oh, anyways, racing at home across the line doesn't improve. But High Grade, oh, Like Bahrain, if you remember on F1 2019, everyone got confused. We had the Bahrain short Grand Prix going on F1 2019, certainly within open lobbies that I used to do. And people used to go the wrong way onto the main track, but then cut through, obviously, through the exit of turn 3. You've got to go right on the short circuit. That's pretty much what Hargrave has just done, albeit go to the left-hand side rather than continue to the right-hand side. He will, but I'm sure he will get a good lap in nonetheless. But what a funny moment that is within CRC. Probably the best moment of the season for me so far in my final commentary. Oh, dearie me. Racing home. Now coming through turn 7. Currently quickest out of everyone with that 28.6. Andy currently in 2nd. Sinclair in 3rd. Aguilera 4th. Yuckup 5th. Mia Orwoff 6th. Bart in 7th. Flecky in 8th. And High Grade has had a lap. 147.8. Inevitably will get quicker. Mia Orwoff, Bart, Flecky, Yogurt all into the pit lane. They're going to be inevitably improving. You can see cars rolling out the pit lane there to the right hand side on the track map. Racing Home will be hoping to try and improve here. So now comes around the final 2 corners. Through turn 12. Really kicking out the bit of oversteer there. But Racing Home comes across the line. 3 tenths off. And straight into the pit lane he comes. We'll run aboard them with Andy. Coming through the middle sector. Just less than 4 minutes ago, Racing Home in front, Andy 2nd, Sinclair 3rd. Andy's just come out the pit lane. Let's see what Sinclair's doing, see if he's on a lap. See now comes around the final corner. Judging by the wide exit he's taken there, he is just about to prepare for his lap. So, and with that being said, let's run on board with Sinclair. If I can work my way around the cameras. There we go. Beautiful rooftop cam again. Running down towards turn 1. And let's take it from cockpit view. Very tight turn 1. Down off the camber. Now flying through the right side of the track there from Sinclair. Now down into the braking zone. Brake just after what would be the 50-metre board there. So now comes through what's similar to the Abu Dhabi chicane. He's 100th down through the first sector, so not too bad through the first sector, but very controlled it seems from Sinclair. Very low fuel he's running on as well. 4 litres of fuel. You'll watch to the right hand side as well as he brakes into the braking zone at the 50-metre board. Oh, all out of shape coming in towards turn 5, but not looking too bad as he comes through turn 6, then up the hill towards turn 7. And Sinclair not looking too bad. The middle sector split will come up at the end of this corner and halfway down the hill. You can hear the car really fighting control there, Sinclair. A little bit of a change in the graphics there. Aguilera goes 2nd and Sinclair 3 tenths up. In the middle sector, I'm going to try and improve. Let's go back out to track so I can and see how he is through the double left, coming through turns 10. And now towards turn 11. Very quick, fast-flowing track this at Dubai. He now flies through the final couple of corners. And he now comes into the final corner. And once again, we'll take it from cockpit cam as he comes through across the line. Scotland flying through the final corner. I think he'll go quickest with this, you know. Sinclair across the line. He doesn't. He goes 2nd. 128.736. 500ths off the back of Racing at Home. So not a bad lap there by Racing at Home to go out on top. Sinclair now 2nd. Aguilera 3rd. Andy across the line. He goes quickest. Andy with a 128.4. Very nice lap there by the Scotsman. Has he done enough? Remains to be seen if he's done enough. We'll just try and pick up on board somebody that is coming up towards the line. That is High Grade, who has improved on his lap at 140.1. But again, with these track limit penalties being off tonight, the drivers can afford to run wide. They essentially can afford to cheat, really, in qualifying. That is what I'm going to put it as. They can afford to cheat. So High Grade does improve by 4 seconds, but obviously the penalties would have been a lot more severe if they were on. You'll get to one of the next ones to come across the line. Mia Orwoff will be the next one to come across the line, though, with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. Andy out on top, Racing at Home 2nd, Sinclair in 3rd. 1 hour race, of course, awaits us after this. And depending on how I feel, we could have some driver interviews. If not, I'll try and conduct them later on. But Bart goes 5th with a 129.7. So nice lap there by Bart, goes 5th. Nice lap from him. And I think pretty much everyone, Racing at Home, is coming through the final 2 corners. Let's see if he can improve. Again, he's running quite low on fuel. You can see the full race speed there, Andy, with that 128.4. Runs wide through the final corner, Racing at Home. Now across the line. And he looks like he's just started a lap. Sinclair, Aguilera, Flaky, not going to be improving. Yogurt, by the way, I think has gone 5th as well. Yeah, he's gone 5th ahead of Bart. 5/10 off the back of Agulator, actually, Yogurt. So not a bad lap time there from him. Only got a couple of drivers now out on track. Bart is going to be the next one. Olaf has spun coming through turn 5, I think that was. And now Bart runs wide. And that looks like his qualifying is done. And he might give, as qualifying is now complete. We've only got a couple of drivers out on track. Yogurt is the one behind. Beautiful panoramic shot there. If we can get more of that through the hour race, that'll be fantastic. Beautiful panoramic shot. Project Cars 2 clearly better than Project Cars 3 so far. Yogurt a 10th down in the middle sector. Let's see if he can improve though. So he hits the braking board at the 50-metre board. Lovely. Now catches the curb through turn 10 and now through turn 11. Bart in front of him could help. Comes out and Bart actually puts a cone on the track, which is not great behaviour. Yogurt coming through the final corner though. See what the Dutchman can do. Runs very wide out the final corner. He's into the wall. Yogurt into the wall. And that is him out of qualifying. He maybe would have improved, I'm not sure. Bart across the line has completed and raced home now around the final 2 corners. Can he improve ahead of Andy? He really needs this if he wants to improve ahead of Andy. He only needs to find 0.2 of a second. Andy 128.4, raced home. Doesn't improve, I don't think. I'm not sure. Let's see. And it is Andy who goes out on top. Yeah, racing home did not improve, so Andy out on top. Racing home in second. Sinclair in third. 2.5 tenths separating. In fact, actually, top 5 separated by 5.5 tenths of a second. Very close qualifying there from the top 5. Bart there down in 6th with me at Olaf 7th. Flaky in 8th. High grade in 9th position out on track. So that is the end of qualifying. My final qualifying session over and done with. And now a 1-hour race awaits us. Hopefully we're going to see the best race of the season in terms of overtaking. Of course, safety car was used actually last week in Circuit of the Americas, where Speedster of course led underneath the safety car. So we'll be hoping to see some good racing out on track. Andy out on top though. Let's have a look at run through everyone's fuel. You won't be surprised to know that probably everyone's going to be on 85 litres worth of fuel. So Andy out on top. Racing Home will change that fuel. He's on 6 litres. There's no way he's going to be running 6 litres of fuel throughout an hour race because it's impossible and he'll only last 3 laps going full speed. Sinclair on 85 litres. Same with Agulator. Same with Yogurt. Same with Bart. Same with Mia Olaf, same with Flaky, and same with High Grade as well. Rest Home has indeed changed that fuel. It's now at 85 litres. Everyone running 85 litres, of course, early on in the season where the guys didn't necessarily know how to do setups, you saw them run at a lower fuel load. But I'm going to put my light on, I think, because it is getting towards that time of the night where it's going to be one of those dark nights as we transfer from day to light here, quite literally within the and we've had a disconnect, and I think it's High Grade who was disconnected out of the race. I'm not sure what has happened there with High Grade. Might be a wheel issue with him being on a new wheel, but he is out of the race. So that leaves 8 drivers. So Andy Racing Home, Darren Sinclair, Agulator, Yogurt, Bart, Mia Olaf and Flaky. So the top 8 about to go. And here we go for the final time in CRC LMP3. The light sequence is about to come on. And it's lights out and away we go. Andy gets a terrific start off the line. Rest of the Home will come into a slipstream. But already Andy is probably 2.5 tenths away, running down towards turn 1. Rest of the Home within the slipstream could try and launch this down in towards turn 1. It's a downhill braking zone and an off-camber braking zone as well. Rest of the Home down the inside. Andy trying to take the outside line. Right around the outside and he holds on to the lead of the race. That's the line you want to be taking through there. Andy cuts across on Rest of the Home and he leads. And we'll see the graphics as they come through the first sector. But Andy comes through in the first sector out in front. And what is the gap? The gap, currently, 0.2 of a second. Agulator in third, Yogurt in fourth. Very good stop by everyone out on track, which is good to see. But now, Racing Home, pressurising Andy, and he cuts to the inside line, possibly Racing Home. He tries to go for the move, but not quite. There's a good battle going on. Yogurt down the inside of Agulator. Agulator actually getting shuffled out by Bart, as Agulator tries to hang it around the outside. 2 teammates going at it here. Bart trying to go around the outside of Agulator. Very good stuff though, they're still side by side, running up the hill. This is what we want on lap 1. Bart gets the move done. Down the inside line, Sinclair's had a dreadful start down there into 6th position. But a great start by Aguilera as well. He's trying to cut in. Sinclair within the slipstream as well. Mia Orloff running down the hill just in behind these guys. But Sinclair now trying to go for the impossible. Mia Orloff trying to go for a dive bomb down the inside of Sinclair. Got to be careful on the braking zone there. But everyone clear through. Sinclair lagging slightly. But Mia Orloff hanging there down the inside line and has got the move done. So he's doing the 6th. Sinclair now trying to fight it around the outside. Oh, and he gets shuffled out. Mia Orloff down the inside line, and there is Flaky Round. Flaky Round through the end of lap 1. It's Andy who leads by 6/10 of a second. Racing Home in 2nd. Yogurt in 3rd. Front 3 are away by about 2.5 seconds out on track in comparison to Yogurt and Aguilera. Very good start though. Bart, Mia Orloff, Sinclair and Flaky, your top 8 in that order. Now we'll try and see some of the battles that unfold out on track. Sinclair trying to get onto the back of Mia Orloff. We'll cut onto cockpit cam, see how he's getting on. Beautiful camera angle this as he fights the car coming out of the right hander of turn 4. But now down the hill, down into a downhill braking zone I should say. Sinclair on the back of Mia Orloff. Beautifully done coming through. 2.5 minutes into the race. Andy does lead, Racing Home in 2nd. Yogurt in 3rd. This is the main man we want to be watching, to be honest, at this point in the race. Sinclair, he's down there in 7th, had a dreadful start. Orloff will be hoping to try and keep him at bay, and currently, so far, he is. He's keeping that gap consistent. Racing Home is keeping the gap consistent as well for the lead. Andy leading the way by 6/10 of a second. You see Racing Home running out wide there, but that's trying to get the best run possible coming out into the final 2 corners, and that is the line you want to be taking. That is my line, to be honest, that I take through there. So Racing Home channeling the inner James Head there out on track, I think, coming through the final corner. But Andy does lead the way. Racing Home in 2nd, Yogurt in 3rd. And already we see Andy quicker than Racing Home last time around, not a surprise. Yogurt there in 3rd position. 2.3 seconds off. He's only lost 5/10 of a second to Andy out in front. There's Aguilera in 4th. Bart in 5th, running well, with Mia Orloff in 6th, Sinclair in 7th. There is Flaky down in 8th. He must have had another half spin somewhere out on track. But Sinclair not getting any closer to the back of Mia Orloff. He's actually dropped off. 1.6 seconds now, the gap. 1.2 seconds, sorry, the gap. 7.6, the gap, I should say. Racing Home now coming through. You see a little bit of a change, by the way, in the darkness. It's because I've got the ratio on my TV set to automatic. So it will go dark where the track is dark as well. So if there's any dark points out on track coming, especially into the braking zone of turn 5, it seems, it will change the aspect ratio to automatic. Something that is on my TV, it's something that's built in, but it's nice. Hopefully you do get the full effects of it out on track. Andy does lead, Racing Home in 2nd, 600ths off his personal best coming through the middle sector. But with 5.5 tenths to play, Racing Home will be hoping to try and put Andy under a little bit of pressure here. As he fights the car on the inside apex there, loses time, now a second off. Oh, Yogurt getting caught very out wide there as well, coming through the final corner. Aguilera's got good pace, the Spaniard in 4th, closing in on Yogurt. Gap is 1.4 seconds coming out. Yogurt in 3rd, Aguilera in 4th. 7.5 tenths of a second. In fact, Aguilera quicker than everyone in front last time around. So nice up there from him. Sinclair really struggling out on track. Not sure if the practice has been put in by Sinclair. I know he said to me last week, or certainly Andy said to me on his behalf last week, that Sinclair would struggle probably around here and the car would struggle, and certainly that seems the case for Sinclair. He's down there in 7th, has made a mistake on the last lap around. Flaky down there in 8th position as well. Back to the battle for 5th though. It's Bart and Mia Orloff. 5/10 of a second as they run down towards this very heavy braking zone. As we see on board with Chase Cam, Mia Orloff very late on the brakes, nearly too late on the brakes in fact. Switches the inside. Now we'll switch on the inside coming through turn 6, and as that move absolutely signed, sealed and delivered. Mia Orloff is through. Bart catching the inside apex there. Nothing he could do about that. Mia Orloff now makes a mistake and Bart comes back through. Does anybody want this position? Mia Orloff is round. Mia Orloff is round, coming through out of turn 7. He's now got Sinclair all over the back of him. But Bart, don't think they wanted that position, to be honest. Mia Orloff got the position done. He got the move done because of Bart's mistake. And then the next corner around, Mia Orloff makes a mistake and Bart now goes back into 5th position. Very typical, I think, of the drivers here in CRC, making mistakes, but the position has now been found and Bart is up into 5th position, and now Sinclair can close in on the back of Mia Olwoff, and hopefully, as this race goes around and the more time he settles into that car out on track, the more he'll begin to close in on the guys ahead. Well, right on board with Racing at Home though, who was quicker than Andy last time around, 0.5 of a second as we come through the chicane for the 5th time out on track. And Racing at Home does like this track from my rumblings that I got told before coming live. And Racing at Home will be trying to put Andy under that little bit of pressure. Andy has been known a few races this season to be out in front, to make a mistake and then to come back and win the race once again. But Andy really in tune with this car, it seems, coming through the middle sector. That was very quick through there. Racing at Home in 2nd. Going board with Yogurt as well. There he is in 3rd. Bit of a lock up there from Racing at Home as you saw. Agulator in 4th. Top 4, relatively speaking, in terms of an endurance race, it's only 4 seconds the gap, to be honest, between the top 4. Pit stops could be made towards the end of the race, especially if the guys tend to use a higher fuel load. Obviously, with these guys running 85, they should get to the end of the race, but it's all about fuel strategy and fuel management out on track, because we've seen so many times this season in CRC that guys necessarily don't know how to save up some of the fuel. And that means that they have to pit and really cost them the race. We saw it 2 weeks ago, I think, with Speedster. Speedster was out in front. He had to come into the pit. I think it was in Imola, actually, where this happened. Speedster was in the lead, came into the pit, gave, I think it was Andy, the win, if I'm not mistaken, at Imola. Or certainly somebody the win in Imola. And Speedster came into the pit because he didn't have enough fuel. So many times we've seen that this season, so many times that the guys have not necessarily fixed it out on track either. So it's been a real pain for some of these guys out on track to try and manage the field. But everyone seems to be managing the field okay so far. When we get later on into the race, we'll have a look and see if the guys can get to the end. But they should be able to, I would think. 85 litres of fuel. It's 0.7 of a second between Andy and Racing at Home. Yogurt in 3rd with Agulator in 4th. With Boss there in 5th. Mia Olwoff in 6th. Now under pressure from Sinclair. Again, Mia Olwoff very late on the brakes. Maybe too late on the brakes. He runs out wide slightly. See the aspect ratio coming into play as we cut through turn 6. Now up the hill towards turn 7. And Sinclair here seems right all over the back of the Italian. Mia Olwoff. Oh, very close to the back there, Sinclair. Mia Olwoff hangs on to the position. Ligier against Janetta here. Running down the hill, you see. We cut into the light, so that is a Janetta rather than the more thinly shaped Ligier. And the gap out in front. Oh, it's Mia Olwoff runs very wide, trying to prioritize the run around the outside. Sinclair on the inside line. Mia Olwoff did not realise he was there at all. Sinclair, I think, trying to hang around the outside, gets the move done. Mia Olwoff, I think, has sent into a spin. He has. Mia Olwoff is round. He's got to be careful rejoining track. There's Flaky. Flaky is through. He's up to 7th. Mia Olwoff now down into 8th position as a result of another spin from the Italian out on track. So Sinclair now up to 6th, Flaky up to 7th as a result of what happened there. Racing at Home though, losing the time now to Andy. Andy was 8/10 quicker last time around compared to Racing at Home. We are 10 minutes in. It's Andy who leads. Racing at Home in 2nd, Yogurt in 3rd. And Yogurt will be hoping that he doesn't end up to be a Muller corner out on track, and rather than a Petit Flou. That was a terrible Yogurt joke. You can at me on Twitter for that one. Yogurt on the back of Racing at Home. 2 seconds the gap. I'm sure there's going to be dislikes coming because of that. Yogurt on the back of Racing at Home. My voice is going actually. Not great when your voice goes 10 minutes into the race, but I will try and keep on going in there. I have got a drink alongside me, which is more positive than anything else. But there is Yogurt, very close to the back of Racing at Home, as you can see from the bumper cam that we are on board with, trying to give you guys the more camera angles that we can, the locked views and the rotating views, of course, that we have out on track. Don't be surprised, by the way, if you don't see any penalties. Penalties are off. No track limit penalties for any of the guys out on track. So that means they can pretty much run amok of the track standards, which hasn't been that case for the 12 weeks. I understand it. Obviously, Dubai is a very hard track to get the grasp of at the best of times, especially with the track limits abuse. And maybe the right decision was made, I'm not sure though. Yoga on the back though of Racing Home, you can see how close this bumper is to the back now of the car in front. Both Ginettas, of course. And now run down towards what will be the braking zone once again, down in towards turn number 5. And we're doing a good job out on track, right on the back of Racing Home. Dutchman hoping to try and provide himself with probably the best results of the season, to be honest. I think Yogurt has picked up, he hasn't picked up a podium so far this season. Obviously with Speeds' absence and a couple of other guys like Mata being absent as well. Bot, by the way, has been overtaken by Sinclair. Just seeing that on the left-hand side of the graphic, and there is the move getting done. So Sinclair through, and he's up into 5th position. Missed that completely, but now Bart trying to go down the inside line. Sinclair will give him the room around the outside. And once again, it's Ginetta on Ginetta, but it's Darren Sinclair hangs on for 5th position. Got the move done on Bart. That was down into the braking zone, I think, through turn 5, so he just dived down the inside. It seems Sinclair got the move done. He's up into 5th position. Very good racing though so far out on track. All 8 still going and within 25 seconds of each other. Don't be surprised, I think the safety car might come in operation. If the gaps get too sparse, I think we might see a safety car deployment, which would be Andy, of course, leading that safety car. And he's got to control the pace and run at about a 40% limit until they go on to the next lap around, of course. So Bart on the back of Sinclair. It will be Bart's operation to try and provide the best racing out on track, so he will deploy the safety car while he's racing out on track. So it'll be very interesting to see how that goes. It worked quite well, I've got to say, in Circuit of the Americas. I was a bit confused as to what was going on, but certainly within this race we'll know when it's coming, because it is quite a small track, as we see Bart track extend like an absolute god coming through turn 4. And now on the run down towards this long half a kilometre straight pretty much here at Dubai Autodrome. And then in towards turn 5. Sinclair runs wide, he's run too wide in fact, and Bart seizes the opportunity, he is through, and he's up into P5 once again, the Dutchman. So Bart through and up to P5, Sinclair ran massively wide, he went so far wide, he went off my camera shot, and that means Sinclair is through, and he's up into 5th position out on track. Hopefully you are enjoying the action so far, not in terms of overtaking, but in terms of the commentary. And if you are enjoying it, of course, like, comment, subscribe. Tick that notification bell, of course, if you are new. Season 6 of CRC will be starting probably within the next few weeks or so. And there will be probably a whole new commentary lineup for that as well. And that will be announced, of course, in due course. We're right on board, though, with Racing Home. So we are 14 minutes in now. Andy leads, Racing Home in 2nd, Yogurt in 3rd. Racing Home trying his best to try and close in on Andy, but Andy has been setting consistent faster lap as he runs wide there on the curb. But he is 1.8 seconds ahead of Andy, so it's really going. He's really going great guns out on track. Racing Home in 2nd, Yogurt in 3rd. Yogurt's looking quicker than Racing Home so far on this lap. I'll be hoping that the car can come in to the gap ahead of Racing Home. It's about a second the gap. Of course, no DRS or anything is going to be mentioned in this. We have got a battle going on though between Bart and Sinclair once again. Flaky and Mia Orloff look like they're going to be battling a little soon as well. Sinclair on the back of Bart, not close enough. Just got to try and prioritise the line to make him into a mistake, make the car ahead into a mistake, as nearly it happened there as he caught the inside apex there. Did Bart, but Sinclair already on the back of Bart as he runs down the hill. Mia Orloff and Flaky having a right set to here. Mia Orloff through down the inside and towards turn 7. Gets a move done. We saw the end of the move there. So good job there by Mia Orloff. He's had a couple of spins so far out on track, but he is through and he's up into 7th position now. Flaky now down into 8th. And that's the line that Mia Orloff wanted to take, where he did make that mistake with Sinclair and a little bit of contact. As Sinclair now, speaking of him, is on the back of Bart, and he is getting close. You can see the slipstream beginning to come in. And come into play indeed it comes as Sinclair runs down towards turn 1. Bart on the way down in towards turn 1 holds the position and holds the line through for P5. Again, Sinclair trying to take the deeper line. This is the usual lines that I would take when driving around here. Bart makes a mistake. Now Sinclair will seize up the opportunity down into the braking zone. Could be side by side. Down in towards the braking zone. We've got on board with Trackside Cam. We're on board with Sinclair. Trying to get the move done. He will have to go right around the outside here on Bart. But the Dutchman and the Scotsman trying to fight out. Never thought I would see Sinclair, to be honest, in 5th. But this is for 5th. And Bart hangs on down the inside line. Inside line was always going to be favoured there, to be honest. Sinclair trying to get the move done. Didn't. He caught the curb and he's just lost a little bit more time. So Sinclair still in P6. Battle for second beginning to develop as well. Racing Home and Yoghurt, 0.6 of a second, separating the guys out on track. Andy currently leads by 2 seconds from Racing Home in second. Yoghurt in third. And so far, so good. Everyone's still going round out on track. Of course, High Grade, I think, disconnected rather than had an issue. Might be the case. I'll check Discord after the race to see if that was the case. But hopefully you guys are enjoying the final race of the season here. And hopefully you're enjoying my final commentary of the season here as well. We see the fastest lap being set there. Here comes Sinclair on the back of Bart. Is he going to try and get the move done down in towards someone? Could be close enough, but no, not quite. Forces Bart slightly out wide. Sinclair all over the back of Bart. Good battling going on here. Olaf has disposed of Flaky further down the field as well. I think Flaky might have made a slight mistake on the last lap. 33.7 compared to Olaf's 30.9. Bart runs wide. Oh, he destroys the polystyrene board, and Sinclair takes that. He's up through and he's up into 5th position. So the Scotsman through. Bart running wide, polystyrene board, an innocent bystander in that crash. And Bart now down into P6. You have to feel sorry for the polystyrene board. What did the polystyrene board do to deserve that? Yoghurt on the back of Racing Home though. This is a really intriguing battle now as Andy pulls away with alacrity out in front by 2.5 seconds. Racing Home in second and Yoghurt in third. Really pulling away from his will, to be honest. Andy out in front, really dominating things out in front. Not often I say that about Andy in Project Cars. Looking at the fuel loads as we come towards the 20-minute mark, it looks okay so far from Yoghurt's perspective, 58.7 litres. But this fuel load looks like it's dropping in about 2.1, 2.2 litres a lap. So these guys have got to be careful. If they get it under 2 litres a lap, then I think they'll be fine to get it to the end of the race. But we might see few pit stops towards the end of the race, especially within the final 10 minutes you would expect. Yoghurt on the back of Racing Home, taking on board perspective once again. We'll take bonnet cam this time with Yoghurt as he comes down into the braking zone. Andy 1.6 ahead. I made a slight mistake actually earlier on in the lap because the gap has closed. Racing Home dragging along Yoghurt into play. And the front three are just really out on their own, to be honest. It is going to be a private race, I think, between these three. Agulator in fourth. Agulator keeping up with the pace. He was quicker than everyone else last time around once again. So Agulator will be hoping to try and have some sort of influence in as Andy does lead. Racing Home in second. Yoghurt in third. With Agulator in fourth. And 20 minutes gone pretty much here in CRC LMP3. If you are tuning into this for the first time, where have you been for the last 12 rounds of the season? Andy does lead by 1.9 seconds. The gap extending to 2 as he comes across the line. Racing Home in second. Yoghurt in third. This is the closest battle. We'll continue to run with this until there is a closer battle out on track. But again, running through turn 1. Yoghurt right on the back of Racing Home. It is 0.6 of a second. And it is the case, really, where Yoghurt is trying to get it close to Racing Home. He's got to be close enough to try and either force Racing Home into a mistake, like he runs wide there, actually coming through the curb, or he's got to be close enough to get the overtake done. There's only 2 options that can be done around this track. Force the guy into a mistake ahead, force the car into a mistake ahead, or try and get that move done out on track. And I think, to be honest, I would rather, and I'm sure you would rather, see the latter rather than the former. I would rather see Yoghurt take the position clean and fair, have a good fight with Racing Home, and take the position for what it's worth. But there's also the option there for Yogurt to obviously put Racing Home under pressure, and the gaps are closing down actually. Andy was 5 tenths slower than Racing Home last time around, so Andy clearly doing a good job out on track. Racing Home in second, Yogurt in third. As I begin to cough slightly, what I'll do is just for a minute or two, I will come off commentary. I'm just going to rest my voice up, I'm going to take a drink, and I'll be back. As you see, as I come back to commentary, Yogurt on the back of Racing Home. This is for second. Again, quite close enough, but not close enough for the move. It looks like Bart actually has made a mistake. I mean, Olaf has got through. I mean, Olaf now up to 6th position. Bart now down to 7th. Bart very wide there as he comes through turns 1 and 2. Normally see a penalty given for that, of course, but with the penalties not being given out on track, with the track extensions, pretty much can do what they want, to be honest, out on track. They could cut the whole course and still win. Yogurt, by the way, 2.5 seconds off the lead. You see the glinting, the direction change there and the glinting as they come through. Andy really beginning to put the hammer down once again on this lap, and it seems like he's been quicker than Racing Home this time around. Looks like the gap was 1.8 seconds last time. It's now 2 as he comes around the final corner. Racing Home in second. Yogurt in third. Really close. You see that? Yeah, Andy was 4 tenths quicker than Racing Home last time around. Even more, 4.5 tenths quicker last time around. Racing Home there in second. Yogurt in third with Agulator in fourth. Sinclair fifth. Mia Olaf in sixth. Sinclair actually recovering quite well, to be honest. He's picked up the pace quicker than everyone else last time around. He is 10 seconds off the back of Agulator. Don't be surprised if that 10 seconds comes down very quickly, because Sinclair will be on the back of Agulator guaranteed towards the end of the race. It will build up towards the last 10 minutes, I think, in terms of a potential battle between those two. Obviously, if they don't spin, of course, that is out on track, or they don't make a mistake out on track as well. But right on board. Oh, Racing Home very close there to a little bit of contact. Yogurt is all over the back of him. You may as well give him the flashing lights treatment, to be honest, out on track, does Yogurt. And he's right on the back of Racing Home as he now comes through the right-hander, coming through turn 7. Now on the run down towards turns 8, 9 and 10. The left-hander here is turn 8. Then the double left is turns 9 and 10. Then the right-handers are turn 11 and 12. As Andy now comes through. 1.5 seconds the gap, but the gap pulling out because he took the wider out line there. Guys took the deeper line coming through the corner. So there is a change of line there from everyone out on track. Bob, by the way, has made another mistake out on track. He's now back down to 7th. Could be very much at risk of running out of 7th place there as well, with Flaky in 8th. But this is the closest battle out on track, so I'm just right on board with it for now. So anything gets close. We are 25 minutes through. And there's Andy who leads. Racing Home in second. Yogurt in third. Agulator fourth. Sinclair fifth. Mia Olaf sixth. With Bart in 7th and Flaky in 8th. Flaky, I think, has just made a slight mistake that time around. But Yogurt through the first sector, 2 tenths down on his personal best. Only 2.5 seconds off the lead of the race. One mistake can change it all out on track. As we see, a beautiful run. You see, actually, Yogurt just lifting and coasting going into the corners. He's got to be very careful. We'll have a run, actually, at the halfway stage. When it gets to 30 minutes through, we'll have a run through and see if everyone is on target to make it to the end of the race without a pit stop. Because if they're not on target to make a pit stop, then obviously they're not going to get to the end of the race. But Andy out in front. They're pretty much all around the same levels. Andy just about has more fuel than Yogurt and Racing Home at this stage. Probably 0.1 of a litre, to be honest, out on track more than the guys. But this battle for second really getting going out on track. Yogurt all over the back. He gets really close to the back but never goes for the move, and it's going to be really intriguing, I think, for Yogurt to try and get the move done. on racing at home. He's got to try and pinpoint a weakness out on track for Yogurt not to... for racing at home to make a mistake, essentially. He's got to try and pinpoint that weakness that racing at home has, and Yogurt has got to bring that weakness, and he's got to take a by the scruff of the neck, and he's got to use it to his advantage to try and get the move done on racing at home. We could see it here as he comes towards the chicane. My voice is going again. Yogurt coming through in third. Oh, racing at home runs wide, and that is exactly what Yogurt would have ordered, to be honest. And his order probably going in for a cappuccino and whatever else. But Yogurt now right on the back of racing at home, very much into the braking zone there. Beautifully done. Racing at home slightly sideways. Yogurt all over the back, and the gap 2.3 seconds out on track between Andy and Yogurt for first and third. Aguilera's getting closer as well. He was getting quicker than everyone else last time around. He's setting consistent laps. He's not really eating into that advantage too much. It's 10.1 seconds the gap as he comes out now down the hill. But Yogurt is all over the back of racing at home here, and it's just really a matter of time. It's not a case of if, it's a case of when Yogurt will get the move done on racing at home. He could try down in towards turn one if racing at home was to cook up, or cock up I should say, the final two corners, but he was perfect actually at the final corner there. But now Yogurt quicker than everyone else last time around. 30.9, racing at home 31 flat, Andy 31.2, and beautiful run down in towards turn one. I love turn one here at Dubai. Really test the driver under the braking zone. If you have a very unstable setup, then obviously it will provide. As racing at home makes a mistake, here comes Yogurt. This is the opportunity now for Yogurt to try and get the move done. Racing at home shuts the door, but Yogurt comes back into the slipstream. The inside line is there for the taking. Racing at home will come across track to try and defend, but it looks like Yogurt might have got this move done. Down into the braking zone, he's much later on the brakes. This should be job done. It is job done. Yogurt is through, and he's up into second position. Again, not a case of if, a case of when. When was the time? That was the time. Beautiful move. Yogurt through, and he's up into second position out on track. And now, this begs into question, 2.8 seconds to Andy, relatively same amount of fuel. Are we going to see Yogurt now really fly onto the back of Andy? He looks like he's got the pace. He is consistent as anyone else out on track, I think, tonight, Yogurt. 3 seconds the gap. He's just losing the time now, actually. And racing at home is just trying to stay in there. By the way, Bart is into the pit lane. Not sure what has happened. Might be for damage repairs. And he's now out of his pit box and drives down the pit lane. Looks like he's going to go into his pit garage there, to be honest. Andy down in towards turn one. 2.5 seconds of gap. You can see Yogurt already eating into this advantage that Andy built up. It was 3 seconds at the start, actually, of last lap around. And now Yogurt, slightly slower than Andy last time around, albeit, but Yogurt now, clear air, really beginning to bridge in that gap. 2.4 seconds the gap as we approach the halfway stage here in LMP3. It's the final race here for CRC, the final commentary as well for me here in CRC. And it's been an absolute privilege, as I say, to bring you guys the commentary for not only this season by myself and also with Ash and Professional as well. But it's been an absolute honour, I think, to be alongside LMP3 for last season. Of course, our former owner here in CRC. It has been fantastic. Goodness knows what the future holds, I think, for CRC. But, of course, I do wish the league the best amount of future and the best of luck, I think, going forward, because Radicals and Touring cars are going to be the order of the day next season for Season 6. Brand new car categories, more exciting racing, hopefully. And hopefully I will be on the sidelines watching it all unfold as a new commentator or commentary team will be recruited for Project Cars 2 for the forthcoming season. But it is Andy who does lead the way in just under the halfway stage now, or just past the halfway stage. Andy does lead, Yogurt second, racing at home in third. Since Yogurt got that move done, he was quicker than Andy last time around by 2.5 tenths of a second. Now the gap is 2 seconds out on track, but I want to focus on Aguilera more than anyone else. I did say the gap, Sinclair would catch the gap to Aguilera. He hasn't yet. The gap has actually extended out. It is around 11 seconds currently the gap, but Aguilera is eating very much so into the advantage of the likes of Racing at Home and the likes of Yogurt ahead. And looking at the way he is eating into the advantage of the guys ahead, it begs the question, is Aguilera the quickest man out on track? And looking at the rate of gain, it's probably only a couple of tenths a lap, albeit, but Aguilera gaining a couple of tenths a lap, the more he gains per lap, the better he will be later on in the race. And I honestly think Aguilera, who's 7.5 seconds now off the lead of the race, he is absolutely flying, I think, out on track. Obviously, it's just changing now, the graphics on the left-hand side, but the timings, I should say, on the left-hand side. But Aguilera getting closer, and I'm going to say it now, might come back to haunt me later on. I think Aguilera might get a top 3. I honestly think that, because these guys were now running in a little bit of single file formation. Andy leading the way, but now Yogurt, tighter run coming through, is in second. Racing at Home in third. Aguilera, quicker man out on track, 30.1 last time around. Sinclair also responded 30.1 last lap around as well. But it really begs into question, will Aguilera have the pace and the rate gain to try and close in? You can see him just in the background of shot there. That is the gap. That is 5 seconds pretty much between Racing at Home and Aguilera. That is the gap theoretically out on track between them both. But Andy does lead the way. We did see actually a safety car come out at around this point in Circuit of the Americas, so don't be surprised if you do see a safety car. The gaps are beginning to extend out once again. And for the guys' benefit further down, like the likes of Mia Owoff, he's had a couple of spins, like the likes of Flaky, he's had a couple of spins as well. Could be good that a safety car is deployed technically out on track, and it could mean that we get closer racing towards the end of the race, and I'm sure that's what you guys want to see as well, of course. Our trusty viewers, our worthy viewers tuning in, of course, here to CRC tonight, and it's going to be weird. Saturdays are never going to be the same, I don't think, with CRC. We are going to be in that planning phase, of course, as I say. The radicals and the touring cars, that'll be implemented in. It is all very much exciting out on track. Aguilera responds again. 30.2 compared to Racing at Home's 31.3. Gap less than 4 seconds. He's gained a second on Racing at Home on that lap. He's not really gaining much on Andy, the leader, but Aguilera is eating into that advantage out on track. And as I say, do not underestimate Aguilera's pace. It's 3.5 seconds off the back of Racing at Home. As we approach what will be the 35-minute mark as we come through the with 25 minutes to go, Andy will lead from Yogurt in second position. Again, the gap 1.6 seconds. Gap extends now to 2 running down the hill. With Racing at Home in third, Aguilera fourth, Sinclair fifth, Mia Owoff sixth, Flaky seventh, and Bart in 8th position. But doing a fantastic job out on track, these guys. And hopefully we're going to be seeing some really great racing in the later stages of this race. Normally when it gets to about the 25-minute mark, we normally see it all calm down. But I think we might see the opposite. Yogurt is gaining on Andy. Aguilera gaining on Racing at Home. Those will be the 2 battles to watch to the end of the race. Everyone else is pretty much evenly spread out, I would say. Darren and Mia Owoff separated by 14 seconds. Same with Flaky and Bart. That gap further up. But Andy does lead the way. A bit of a timing glitch there, actually. As Yogurt to the inside. 2 seconds the gap. Racing at Home losing the time, and now 3 seconds the gap between Racing at Home and Aguilera, really getting on the back of the man in front. Just runs wide, but doesn't stop him in terms of trying to close in on Racing at Home ahead. But as it's gone quiet, I will be back in just a second. Dying back just like that. Agulator closing in the gap to around 2 seconds now to Racing at Home. Probably just more than that. But Yogurt has gained on Andy. It is 1.5 seconds separating us. They come now through what is the right-hander out on track through turn 11 and then through the right-hander of turn 12. And Andy, maybe at this stage beginning to feel a little bit of pressure. Yogurt in second, Racing at Home third, Agulator in fourth. The gaps are closing on Racing at Home's round. Racing at Home is round in the background of short. You saw him just lose the back end coming through the final corner, and Agulator just like that is up into P3. Racing at Home recovers the car into fourth, but that is not what the doctor ordered at all. Racing at Home down into fourth, lost the back end, and we're back underway in terms of action with Racing at Home down there in fourth position. So Agulator now up to third, Yogurt second, Andy currently leading the way. But now the gap between Andy and Yogurt, 1 second down into the braking zone. Let's have a look on board with Yogurt and see where he might be gaining the time on Andy. Certainly through there he didn't, but certainly taking a good line coming up the hill towards turn 7. Slight rise up the hill through turn 7. Got to be careful as well, as I had a bit of a mid-yawn there through commentary. I do apologise. But have a looking at the fuel. Andy on 30.8, Yogurt 30.7, pretty much half a litre of fuel I think within it. So it's going to be quite tight for those guys to possibly get to the end of the race. They should make it, I think. 20 minutes to go. They might cut short towards the end of the race, but it seems to me at the minute, and don't take my word on this, that we might see Andy and Yogurt certainly go to the end of the race on that field. We'll have a run down the rest of the field actually, as Bart has retired from the session. So Bart has retired out of the race, which means 7 drivers now going around out on track, down into the braking zone through turn 1. And there's Andy who does lead the way. Yogurt in second, Agulator in third. Agulator running very much less fuel than Yogurt and Andy. That might be why he is gaining the gap up to 6.6 seconds now. So Agulator's just got to be careful on the fuel, I think. He might not make it to the end. Racing at Home, 29.3, he looks fine. Same with Sinclair. Mia Olwoff definitely doesn't look fine. He is going to be cutting it very much short towards the end of the race. And Flaky, he is fine. He's on 31 litres of fuel. He might be the one to get a possible top 5 finish at the end of tonight. But less than 20 minutes to go. It's now Andy who leads, Yogurt in second, Agulator third, Racing at Home in fourth, Sinclair fifth, with Mia Olwoff sixth and Flaky in 7th position. 1.4 seconds separating the two out on track between Andy and Yogurt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a check of the comment section to see how you guys have been doing. I haven't checked it, probably on purpose to be honest, because I don't want my connection to go, but it looks strong enough now, so I'm going to check the comments and see how you guys are doing here for tonight's CRC action. And of course, if you have been looking at, good evening to everyone that is tuning in. Speedster saying, I just hope Jake crashes. Well, he got a half spin. He did get a half spin, and that the message before was, I think, for that half spin. So that might be why. High grade tuning in, sadly disconnected at the race. Ranzalf has also came into the comment section and seen, and you can see there within the comment section, League Racing TV, that there is CRC commentator vacancy for Saturday and Sunday, 8 PM UK time. You can message at Competitive RC, that is a capital C for Competitive C on Twitter to commentator roles, and you never know, you might be my replacement for next season. Mia Olwoff into the pit lane. Might have been told that he is now out, or well, he's not out of fuel, but he certainly will be running out of fuel. So Mia Olwoff fuel, and now his car does come into the pit lane. You should see that go to about 30 litres of fuel, you would imagine. Yeah, 35.6. See if that continues to go up. No, 35.6 litres of fuel in, and Mia Olwoff coming out of the pit lane. He's going to be well ahead of Flaky. There is Flaky coming around the final corner. Oh, coming up towards the final corner, and Mia Olwoff now on pit exit. He's going to be well out ahead. It's going to be about 7 or 8 seconds, I think, in terms of the timings. And he remains on the lead lap. Yogurt 1 second off the back of Andy. Doing a good job so far out on track, these guys. And Yogurt actually improves personal best 300th of a second, and they were only separated in terms of personal best lap times by 5,000th of a second last time around. And Aguilators came in with a 29.8. Let's have a look at everyone's fastest lap times actually out on track. Yeah, that was Aguilator. Aguilator actually set the fastest lap of the race, 29.8 for Aguilator. So going great guns currently, Aguilator out on track, but his fuel is a major concern. If he gets that to the end of the race, he's going to be the luckiest man alive. But honestly, he should save the fuel up now. He's running in no man's land. He's 5 seconds off Yogurt. I know he wants to catch up desperately, but I don't think he's going to. I honestly don't think he's going to with the fuel, because the fuel is the most important factor, I think, in terms of Aguilator trying to close in on Yogurt. If he doesn't maintain the fuel, he will come into the pits, he will lose that P3, and he will give others a chance possibly to gain that podium celebration, to gain that podium off him. So it's going to be quite tough. Andy and Yogurt, by the way, I think are fine on fuel. It's pretty much a 4-litre difference now between now and the end of the race, and you've got to factor in that these guys go down in about 2 litres a lap. So bear that in mind. Andy, Yogurt should be fine. They should have about 2 litres of fuel left towards the end of the race. Maybe less than that, but they should have about 2 litres of fuel left towards the end of the race. Aguilator will not have any fuel left at the end of this race, because he is now under that threshold, and I know it's 15 minutes ago and the clock is counting down, but he's got to be very, very careful out on track with that fuel. Andy now under pressure. Yogurt, I think Andy's made a mistake actually on this lap, which we've missed, and now Yogurt is at the best possible opportunity here to take the lead of the race from Andy. And Andy has been so dominant so far out in front. Yogurt now beginning to put the pressure on. Now is Flaky getting out of the way to the left hand side, but now it is all about Andy and Yogurt, it seems, for the win of the race here in Dubai. It'll be fantastic for them to go out on an absolute high out on track, and Andy maybe looking to add his 4th win of the season. Of course, won last time out in Circuit of the Americas, and Andy certainly going to be trying to provide a fantastic race out on track tonight as Yogurt pressurises them. We're right on board with Chase Cam. Beautiful camera shots as we come through. Wish we had that panoramic shot coming through turn 7 again. That would be fantastic. Might be the end of the panoramic shots though. If you have got Project Cars 3, by the way, do let me know in the comment section what you guys think, because I am thinking of getting it, and I want to see if it's fit enough for obviously CRC to run on there for next season. So have a look on, if you've got Project Cars, let me know your opinions on it in the comment section. If you haven't, don't worry. If you are getting it though, what have you made of the gameplay? That is the most important factor. Anything that you guys, I think, will feed back into the comment section will be of use to all the admin team next season, season 6, for the Radicals and for the touring cars. Yogurt though on the back, 3.5 tenths of a second, chomping at the bit now. Yogurt trying to huff and puff and blow Andy's car out of the way is Yogurt. He's looking to be Goldilocks and the Three Bears. He might turn in some more like the Piper Raya as he nearly goes into the back actually of Andy coming through there. Andy does lead, but for how long you would think. Yogurt quicker than Andy last time around, and he's 4 tenths up on his personal best. And now down towards turn 10, Yogurt 13 minutes away from a possible win here. Yogurt, Andy 13 minutes away from a possible win. Gap 6.2 behind. Andy runs wide. Yogurt now down into the braking zone. Takes the wide right line coming through there, nearly hitting the polystyrene boards. But now out of the corner, Andy flying. Here the changes of the gear there, up to 6th goes Yogurt. Down in towards turn 1, is he close enough? No, Andy will stay in front. Catches the curb on the inside, Yogurt, but not looking too bad through there. Really putting the pressure on Yogurt in comparison to Andy. 3 tenths of a second, oh, nearly runs into the back of him. coming in towards turn 3. Now through turn 4. Really heating up this race, to be honest, between these both. Hope you're staying on in there. Hope you're going to watch the last 12 minutes of this one, because Andy and Yoghurt are about to go, possibly hell for leather, for the battle for the lead out on track. Yoghurt responded to Aguilera's fastest lap, but I think he set he's 200th off actually Aguilera's fastest lap of the race. So Yoghurt really beginning to gain on Andy, and Andy at a little bit of a peril compared to Yoghurt, because now Yoghurt has saved a little bit of fuel. He's 0.5 better off than Andy coming down into the braking zone of turn 10. So a bit of lift and coast action. You can see the lift and coast. Andy trying to go flat out through the corners, but now Yoghurt trying to go around the outside through turn 11. Can he try and get the move done? He can't, but now on the inside through turn 12, Andy gives him a little bit of a tap, but he was sideways out of the corner. Here comes Yoghurt down the inside for the lead of the race. Andy around the outside gets the traction. It's nice side by side. It's the run down towards turn 1. Who wants it most? Yoghurt now comes back into the slipstream. Andy though looks like he's got the pace, and he's got to hang on to the lead of the race down in towards turn 1, or is he? Because now Yoghurt is all over the back, and Yoghurt is having his best race of the season so far, guaranteed. And the Dutchman flashes his lights coming through turn 2. That's cheeky, as he now comes through turn 3. 11 minutes to go, and 11 minutes of this could be absolutely fantastic to watch. I think we've got about 6 or 7, maybe 7 or 8 laps left possibly. So Yoghurt now attacking Andy down the inside line. He's got the speed. Has he got the brakes? Down the inside he goes. Parks it beautifully. Yoghurt is through. No, he's not. He spun. Yoghurt has spun from the lead of the race. I can't believe it. He got the move done. He did everything right. He just got the power wrong on the entrance and the exit of the corner. And Yoghurt now down into P2, and there's chances of a race win have possibly just gone up in smoke. And Andy might have just been handed that one on a silver platter. So Andy now leads by 5 seconds out on track. Yoghurt, so unfortunate. You've got a feel for the guy. So good in this race. He is now going to try and put that hammer down, try and get back into the focus, try and drag Aguilera along with him as well. But now Yoghurt should be fired up. He should close that gap once again. If Andy makes a mistake, and Yoghurt doesn't again, and Andy makes the mistake, then it'll be Andy, then it'll be Yoghurt who was, really in control if Andy makes a mistake. But Andy currently out in front, Yoghurt second, Aguilera third, rest at home in fourth, Sinclair fifth, Mia Olaf sixth, Flaky in seventh, Bart and Highgrade of retirement out of the race. Highgrade didn't even start. Bart retired out of the race. He was down in last when he did so. And so, Aguilera could be landing himself a possible P2 out on track. And of course, we will conduct the interview on Discord if needs be, if he does end up in the podium positions. Same with Yoghurt as well. We'll get Andy, of course, into the party, and I'll conduct some of the interviews as well simultaneously on Discord within private messages. But Andy leading the way, 4.5 seconds the gap from Yoghurt in second, Aguilera in third, racing home in fourth, Sinclair fifth, Mia Olaf sixth, Flaky in seventh position. Still 7 going round, still some good points available for the guys out on track. You can see Yoghurt's fired up, runs wide coming through turn 11, tries to floor it, and again just a little bit of alacrity on the power once again. And he's 1.5 seconds clear. He's just got to be careful and he doesn't make us another mistake like what he did. And he's going to be fine on fuel to the end. Same with Yoghurt. Aguilera, 11 litres. It's looking more and more likely that he could. Racing at home under pressure now from Sinclair. And I think Racing at home actually might have just made a mistake, possibly somewhere on this lap, because Sinclair has closed in 29.7 compared to Racing at Home's 31.3. I think Racing at Home's just dropped the bomb in terms of pace, to be honest, out on track. We see a very wide car there, a Flaky, I think, running down the straight. We've got on board with Sinclair on the back of Racing at Home. But if he done through there, Andy leading the way, 4.3 seconds. Yoghurt is beginning to eat into that advantage though. We saw last time around, but he is eating into the advantage. Aguilera third, Racing Home in fourth, Sinclair in fifth. Sinclair close here to the back of Racing Home. We'll go on board in the cockpit with the Scotsman. He had a dreadful start. He qualified well up there in the top 5. But Sinclair, who really hasn't had the run of things so far this race, going to try and get some sort of it. Luckily, he's picked up P2, I think, within the standings. And now, is he going to try and move down into the double left-hander? I think he might, you know. Look at the speed difference. Racing Home might be saving up fuel. Sinclair dives it up the inside. Job done. Sinclair is through up to P4. Easy as you like. Might be the easiest overtake you might see all night, to be honest. Sinclair through up to 4th. Racing Home down to 5th. Racing Home, yeah, they put up a fight for that one. Sinclair through and he's up to 4th. Racing Home down to 5th. Racing Home really beginning to struggle. Certainly something has happened to that car out on track. 11.8 the gap. 11.8, sorry, litres of fuel left. But the gap is 1.3 out on track. 6.5 minutes to go. Andy leads, Jogger second, Aguilera in third. That could be our top 3 now, pretty much decided. It's Sinclair in fourth, Racing Home in fifth, me off sixth, Flaky running in 7th position, and he just runs wide there, coming through turn 6. Now up the run towards turn 7. And Jogger trying to close in on that gap, but not closing in enough. And 6 minutes to go. Andy handed that one on a silver platter pretty much. We should have 4 laps left in my eyes. So it gets towards probably the 5.5 minute mark when they come around the final couple of corners. As my voice really begins to go. So Andy and the final corner leads the way. 4 seconds the gap. That is me off, I think, just in front of Andy out on track. And he improves. 14 hundredths of a second. Yogurt 29.6 was quicker than Andy last time around. Aguilera think has settled for third. He's going to be very tight on fuel though. 6.5 litres of fuel left with 5 minutes to go. He might not make it to the end of the race, possibly Aguilera. Remains to be seen, and I think he realises that he's trying to save up fuel now and he's losing the time to Yogurt. So Aguilera, I think, nailed on for P3. You can hear him taking the lower gears down the straight. And that means Aguilera could run into trouble with Sinclair, possibly picking up a podium finish. So that means Yogurt will pick up a P2. Oh, he runs massively wide coming through turn 6. But Andy out in front, 4.2 seconds the gap, with 4.5 minutes to go, and the gap just keeps on coming down between himself and Yogurt. Yogurt trying to put in his best effort very late on after that spin, but it looks like Andy's going to hold all the cards, all the key to the castle at this stage. It'll be about 4 minutes to go when they come across the line. So, I mean, in theory, 3 more laps to go, technically. Andy comes across the line to lead onto what could be the third last lap out on track. Yogurt in second, Aguilera in third. He's not making it to the end in terms of fuel. 4.8 litres of fuel left. It's going to be so close on fuel, I think, for Aguilera towards the end of the race. Sinclair there in fourth, Racing Home in fifth, Mio off sixth. There's Flaky in 7th position as well. But Andy's done a phenomenal job. I've made a mistake where it wasn't really needed. He will be cursing himself, I think. But Andy now comes around the final couple of corners, which will be on the final few laps. So now comes through turn 7 once again. And Andy trying his hardest to put a 4th win on the board this season. And he will wrap up third as a result in the standings, I do believe, as well. So it's a very good performance from Andy. And with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go, double left-hander awaits. Will be the penultimate lap of the race that we will come on to. Looking at the time, it will be less than 2.5 minutes when they come across the line. So, yeah, Andy we should get at least another 2 laps out of this race. Yeah, it will be another 2 laps out of this race. So Andy comes across the line to take the second to last lap. Yoghurt in second, Aguilera third, Sinclair fourth, Racing Home fifth. Pretty much in that order. It's been a boring last 10 minutes, to be honest, with Yoghurt's spin obviously costing what would have been a potentially great battle between the leader of the race. Yoghurt did everything right. He got the move done, he got the lead of the race, got the move done, and then all of a sudden he just spun the car with the apex, on the apex of the corner, and he went round. Aguilera's in trouble. Aguilera is in real trouble here. 2 litres of fuel. He is not going to make it at all. He might even run out of fuel as he comes across the line this lap. That is how dire his situation is out on track. With right on board with him, he's going to try and cut it down, but Aguilera is going to be cursing himself. He is going to be absolutely cursing himself out on track as he now comes through the final couple of corners. What will be to start what will be the final lap of the race. And Andy now comes round with this final lap of the race awaiting. Scotsman is going to be winning a 4th win out on track as he comes round the final corner now to start what will be the longest minute and a half of his life. But now we should see him going on. Yoghurt is disconnected. Yoghurt has disconnected and Aguilera into the pit from second. That now means a change-up. Yoghurt has disconnected very late on. In second position, he was 4.4 seconds off the back of Andy, and now Sinclair will get second, and Racing Home somehow has landed himself a 3rd position. Never say never. Aguilera into the pits, not enough fuel. He's into the pit lane. Mia Olaf is well behind him out on track, so Aguilera is going to be out in 4th. Mia Olaf in 5th. There's Flaky across the line in 6th. But now Andy coming through the middle sector, coming through turn 6 for the final time. So unfortunate for Yoghurt, but it means that we will be conducting the interviews on PSN. And Andy now coming around turn 7 for the final time. He's been gifted this race on a silver platter once again. Yoghurt had a little bit of a look in, but now Andy, with less than 2 litres of fuel left, he is going to be coming home for a 4th win this season. And what a win it's been. You've got to be honest, Andy got the best break out of everyone off the start. He's really made it pay. He's been dominant all race. Never thought I'd say that about Andy. But Andy now ran the final corner. He is going to take the win. The final race here in CRC Season 5 will go to Andy. And in a dominant drive, Andy takes the flag to win. Sinclair now ran the final 2 corners. It's a Bulldog Racing 1-2. They're just going to consolidate their team win from 3 weeks ago. Darren Sinclair now ran the final corner in 2nd position. Racing at Home somehow is going to be the luckiest person on God's earth right now. Racing at Home going to be across the line in 3rd. Then we've got Flaky coming around the final corner then in 6th. He's done well, the Malaysian. He's going to come across the line in 6th position, and very fortunate, of course, with Yoghurt's disconnect. Aguilera, what could have been? If he listened to me with the fuel, if he listened to me, it would have all been fine. But Aguilera ran the final corner. He is going to finish in 4th position, and Mia Olaf will be across the line in 5th, and I'm going to send the party invites out now while we wait for Mia Olaf to come across the line in that 5th position. So sorry if you can't see the screen, but you will still be able to hear me as we will get our race winner and the likes into the party. Just trying to find their names. There's Andy. Let's try and find Sinclair. Sinclair's not on my friends list, which is great. So I'll get Darren's name and also Racing at Home, who is on my friends list. So I'll invite all 3 of them in, hopefully for all of them to get a party invite and a party interview as well for the final race of the season. Me, Olaf would have came across the line by now. He finished in 6th position, or 5th position I should say. But your race winner, Andy, has won out on track. There we are. There are the finishing results. Andy takes the win from Sinclair in second. A dominant win from Andy in the end. Sinclair in second. Racing Home in third. An all British 1-2-3 technically. Agulator finishing there in fourth position. Mia Owa finishing in fifth. Flaky in sixth. And Bart retiring out of the race about halfway through, finishing there in seventh position, but however will not be classified within the results unless he turns them and taints them into his own way. But yeah, he might do. He might do. You never know. But as you can tell, we have got Racing at Home in the party. Third place for you, Racing at Home. Talk us through your race, because it seemed quite lucky out there with Yogurt's disconnect late on.
Lucky? Did you see my throttle trace?
I didn't.
Yeah, it was at 95% for like half the race.
95%?
Yeah.
I thought you were saving fuel. That's what I thought you were doing. I thought you were saving fuel. And
part of it was saving fuel, but I couldn't get to full throttle on the straights. I was still saving fuel, but I still wanted to get to full throttle on the straights. That's how Darren Sinclair passed me so easily.
Yeah. No, I said in commentary, I think, that you were running out of fuel and you were at fuel saving or something like that. You can go back later and watch it, but third place for you, very good result in the end.
I feel like I could have had second.
But you didn't.
I know I didn't.
You didn't, and that is the end.
I made 2 spins and then hit the gravel. I mean, I lost a decent amount of seconds with that, so maybe it was a chance. Plus, I just went for hell for leather in the last 2 laps.
Well, it was a good comeback, actually, to be honest, for obviously finishing third. Unfortunate with Yogurt's disconnect in the last lap of the race. But third position for you, I'm sure you'll take that for the end of the season race.
I'm not happy about it now.
Yeah, you're very happy. You should be very happy about it.
Car felt not horrible as well. That was nice.
Very good. Very good. But, yeah. I normally ask how you would do in the next race, but there is no next race, is there?
There's one tomorrow.
There is one tomorrow for IndyCar. How do you feel you're going to get on an IndyCar tomorrow?
I don't know. I haven't done any laps at Laguna Seca yet.
Well, you better.
I enjoy the track. I've done Laguna Seca before, but I haven't done it for this weekend yet.
Well, you better do some laps in, because I want to see you take the win.
I don't care what you think. I want to see me take the win.
I'm sure it will be a good race, though, and I'm sure there'll be a commentator as well along for the IndyCar to be covered on the channel. But Racing Home, I'll let you get on with the evening. Well done.
Yep, bring Ash back for commentary.
You're very welcome. My mic is messing up, so I'm just going to unplug it. Re-plug it in, and I do believe we've got our race winner with us as well. Andy, dominant win, lights the flag victory. Surely you couldn't be more happy with that?
That's the fastest lap, but no, I won't complain about that. I've gone from last to first at Algarve and I've finished off doing lights to flag, so yeah, I'll take that. I'm not too bad at all. Yeah,
not too bad at all. Obviously, with Speedster's non-attendance tonight, it would have just brought the field a little bit closer together in terms of pace. Did you feel at any point that you were under pressure from Yogurt? Because we saw the overtake get done and Yogurt just spun. Do you think it would have been a good battle if that didn't happen?
Yeah, it would have been. I kind of panicked a little bit, to be perfectly honest, because I had a nice gap and then I just made a mess up and he was within the slipstream and I was like, oh boy, here we go. I knew I had the pace to kind of keep him there relatively, but the slipstream was definitely going to help. And then he obviously went up the inside, tried to switch back, he parked it on the apex. There was a tiny touch on my side at that point, but again, that wasn't what caused him to spin. And then there's just that little crest just as you come out, and he's also put the throttle down. Around she went. So it could have been a nice battle to finish off, but if I'm being selfish, it helped me to win that he did that when that happened. But things happen, and yeah, I'll take fourth victory of the season. So I wasn't quite expecting that when I started the year, I'll tell you that.
Fourth win of the season, and if I'm not mistaken, you're only either 1 or 2 behind Speedster in terms of race wins, if I'm not mistaken.
Give or take, yeah, I think so. Can't remember how many Harrison's got, the quick bastard. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame he wasn't here tonight, so it would have been interesting. It's always, you always want to win, you always want to be against the fastest, and
Yeah.
he's definitely one of them. But you race who you've got in front of you, and you do the best you can. It was just nice to finally get the pole position, first one of the season as well. So that was nice.
Yeah, it was a good qualifying lap. We rode on board with it in qualifying, and it was a fantastic lap. And obviously, you were just dominant during the race. Obviously, you had the pressure from Yogurt, but handled it well. 4th win of the season. And I would ask you, how would you get on in the next race? But there is no next race.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong, touring cars and radicals will be fun. I will kind of miss this longer race format. I do really like it. I think it makes different elements involved, but I like touring cars as well. Not really tried the radicals, so that'll be interesting. And I'm just glad to have done well tonight, because when I done some practice during the week, I done it on the longest version of the track, not the international. Oops.
I know, we saw high grade go the wrong way in qualifying, which wasn't the greatest thing, and probably the funniest moment I think I've seen in CRC in my 2 seasons. But yeah.
Yeah, it's good season, you know. Oh, you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear.
I thought I just had a notification come up there saying can't operate with voice. I was like, okay. But yeah, good season. Looking forward to next season. We'll see how that goes, basically. But for now, I have pizza, so I am disappearing.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Go and enjoy your pizza. You deserve it.
Thanks, buddy. And shame to see you go again. Take care of yourself. I'll speak to you soon, no man.
Thanks, Andy. See ya.
Cheers.
And that, of course, was Andy, our race winner. Doesn't seem that Sinclair's available for an interview. I'm sure he would have been pleased with that P2, given how disastrous, really, his start was. Fantastic race from Sinclair. And that is it. 13 rounds of CRC LMP3 over and done with. Just like that. My final commentary here in CRC LMP3 as well. It is emotional, I would say that, but honestly, I don't think the league could be in better hands than with the admin team in TRC. It would be a shame, but I would be willing you all on from the sidelines, and it's been an absolute pleasure to commentate for you guys for the last 2 seasons here in CRC. But don't think, because I'm getting rid of CRC, doesn't mean that you're going to be seeing me during the week, because you are. We've got TTML coming up, of course, next week. IndyCar tomorrow night, more importantly. So the IndyCar's up tomorrow. Then on Tuesday, we've got Division 1 of TTML. Kieran McGinley and myself going to be taking you through that one. And then on Thursday, we go again. Wednesday, sorry, it's TTML F2 with Aidan Carter and Luke Etheridge. Going to be taking you through that one. Possibly Daniel Hoggard could fill in for Luke as a result of his internet. So just have to wait and see on that. Division 2 and 3 are live as well on Thursday evening. I will have a new commentator alongside me in the comms box. Paco Suarez, of course, has now left TTML. And I'm pleased to say Ivor Bryn Mike is going to be alongside me in the commentary box. The Welshman here as a reserve commentator, going to be tuning in with me for Division 2. And we'll run through, of course, how the graphics work and all of that. And then Division 4 and 5 live on Friday night. We are going to be back live for Division 5 as well from my end and from Daniel Hoggard's end. He's going to be joining me. QVR Dakar going to be joining me in the commentary box for that. And I would say we do it all again on Saturday, but we don't. We do have, I think, a couple of weeks break now between now and the start of the Radicals and the Touring Car season for Season 6 of CRC. But for myself, James said, please take care of yourselves, and I will hopefully see you next week for TTML. But thank you so much for watching, and thank you to everyone who was tuned in for CRC this season. And until next time, goodbye.